you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. These like Q&A type videos or like just videos where I get to chat with you guys are some of my favorites. And I asked for your questions using the YouTube community feature. That should pop up if you are a subscriber. So if you're not yet subscribed, make sure that you do hit that red subscribe button down below if you'd like to follow this channel. Side note, before we start on the questions, a lot of you guys asked questions that were pretty personal, and a lot of you said, you know, I'm really sorry if this is too personal, that kind of thing. And I want to put it out there that you guys don't need to be sorry for asking questions. I love sharing my life on YouTube, and if you guys are curious about something, I don't ever want you to be afraid to ask. If I feel like it's too personal for me to answer, I'll let you know. But for the most part, I'm going to answer any question that you have. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, and I have my trusty list of questions here, and I'm just going to go ahead and read them off. So Little Fox, I hope that I'm saying your YouTube handle correctly. She said, are you going to be trying to conceive after you lost your little one? I know this is personal too, but I'm interested. And then she had a second part. How are you coping emotionally after the miscarriage? And she said, I always ask people this because I had 2 miscarriages, and even though both happened a year ago, I still struggle with it sometimes. So the first part of your question, we are not going to be trying to conceive. We were not trying when we conceived our little one that we sadly miscarried. And if you didn't know that I've gone through a miscarriage, I will link that in the iCards as well as down below. I did a video kind of talking about how it all went, and then I did my live pregnancy test from that miscarriage as well. So I'll link both of those things down below if those are things that interest you, or if you want to know more about my story. That baby was a surprise, and it took us actually quite a while to adjust. In our minds, we were completely done having kids at 2 kids. In my mind, I am a working mom, and right now with a toddler and a preteen, I have got my hands full. Brian recently took a new job where he's actually working outside of the home. Delilah is full-time in school. Harrison starts preschool in the fall. I work full-time from home. I do YouTube stuff, and then we also have to kind of fit in time for our family. So right now, our cup has runneth over. So we are not going to be trying to conceive. We are also not going to be trying to conceive anytime in the future. With that said, I do have a lot of trying to conceive tips. I was really into TTC and all of that stuff when I was trying to conceive with Harrison. I know how to track my cycles. I know a lot of supplements to take that work for my body. So if you guys are interested in trying to conceive like tip videos, I am so happy to make those, but we are not going to be on a trying to conceive journey now, and we are not ever going to be on a trying to conceive journey. To be honest, we are both contemplating, you know, permanent measures of birth control. So we are looking at, you know, a vasectomy. We've been talking about that. That's not our first option, but it is something that we're talking about. We're also looking at me having my tubes tied. It's a major surgery, so there's a lot to consider. So those are both things that we're talking about. So we really are done with me having babies. Now, that does not close the door on growing our family. Brian and I, when we first got together, we really had it in our hearts that we felt called to adoption. We both loved the idea of bringing a child into our home who otherwise would not have had a home. So adoption is something that is still in both of our hearts, but it definitely will be, I would say, at least 2 years before we even open up the conversation about that. And I'll talk more about that as well. There's a question about how things are going for us with marriage counseling and that kind of thing. So that's another piece to consider as well. So right now, we are not contemplating having children at all. So our family is great the way it is right now, but again, we are not closing the door to growing our family in other ways. So thanks for that question. That was a really great one, and I hope that answer wasn't crazy long. So that is that with TTC. Now, the second part of her question said, how am I coping emotionally with my miscarriage? I am doing okay most days, and I find that I have less days where thinking about the miscarriage makes me cry. I still think about, like, you know, what happened, because I don't have answers. I think that is the hardest part. Like, when I saw the baby with the ultrasound and it was measuring exactly where I thought it should be, and then it had, you know, it had a heartbeat, and then I passed it. Like, I still don't know what happened. And a lot of research says that the cyst that I had most of the time does not cause miscarriage. Now, I don't know if that's true. I've never had a ruptured ovarian cyst before. I don't know if that's traumatic to a pregnancy. I did take pain medication that I think was like level C or something like that. So that is a question that I ask myself. If, you know, did that contribute to the miscarriage? Did my stress just in my life, because there was so much going on right then, did that contribute to the miscarriage? Like, I don't know. So I guess emotionally I'm okay, but I have a lot of questions, and when those questions come up, I get kind of emotional. And then if I see something online, or if I hear a song that might make me feel upset or sad, I used the song in my miscarriage video as well as in my live pregnancy test video that I had planned to use when I announced my pregnancy to you guys. So if I hear that song, because a lot of other creators do use it, if I hear that song, sometimes it triggers something in me that makes me feel really sad. And I feel like it comes in waves. I've heard a lot of people talk about grief just coming in waves. If you don't follow her, Amy Waters is a great person, and she talks about grief, and a lot of her videos have been really helpful to me. This miscarriage just hit me really hard. And so some days are better than others, but you know, thinking about the incredible miracles that my 2 kids are just really makes me happy. This is another reason also why I'm considering having, you know, permanent measure of birth control done, because, you know, this is my second loss, and I don't know, you guys. Like, I don't think that I can put myself through that again. I don't know. There's a lot at play, and as you can tell, I have a lot of feelings still about the miscarriage, but most days I feel pretty good. So I don't know how else to explain it. It's up and down is really the short answer. It's up and down. The next question comes from Dama O. So she has another 2-part question. So her first part is, how did I get into planning? And then the second part of her question is, do I have any tips for planner babes that are struggling with their planning? And then she also just asked for overall tips about planning. So to answer the first part of your question, how did I get into planning? I've always been someone that liked to plan out my day. And I think I first started using a planner in high school, and then that kind of rolled over to college. It wasn't decorative. I doodled in it, I think. I wish I still had one and I would show it to you guys. I believe it was a horizontal layout. I think those were the ones that I used to get for school. They were just the ones that you could pick up either, you know, at the office if you're in high school, or at the student center if you're in college, those ones. And I used it. Like, I would highlight in there and I would write down my homework. That's mostly what I used it for, is to keep track of what was due when. When I discovered that planning was like a thing, I was really excited, and I kind of stumbled upon it. So I had been thinking to myself for a while that I wanted to get a planner just to keep track of my day and just to write stuff down, that kind of thing. First, I went to Target, and oh my gosh, I think it's the Day Designer is their brand or something like that. I grabbed one of those because it looked the most like what I wanted. I had kind of seen ads online for the Erin Condren, but I didn't think that I wanted to pay that price. So I found this planner that looked pretty and I thought might work, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. Then I walked into Michael's because I thought maybe they would have something. And I think it was like the second release of their Happy Planners were there. I picked up a few of those planners to take home to look at. I loved that the insides of the planner matched the cover. I absolutely loved that. And from there, I kind of learned that planning decoratively was a thing. I started doing YouTube video searches. I love watching planner videos now because I don't know, I needed inspiration, and then I kind of slowly stumbled into it. And then tips for people who are struggling with planning. I would honestly say maybe take a break, maybe stop planning. Planning for me is not something that I struggle with. If it is something that you're struggling with, I would say either take a break, reevaluate your planning system. If you're using one planner, maybe you need to use several. If you're using several planners, maybe you just need to use one. I have kind of narrowed my planning down a little bit. You'll see that in my planner lineup update. It shouldn't be something that you struggle with, in my opinion. Planning should be easy. Planning should be something that helps you. Planning should be something that, you know, maybe it takes up some of your time, but it's something that you enjoy. So planning shouldn't be something that you struggle with, but maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but that is my opinion on planning. And then any other overall tips for planners and people in the planning community, I would say just do you and be authentic. There are so many planners out there and so many Instagrams with planners on them that it's really hard to not compare ourselves to people who are really decorative, or people who own Etsy shops, or people who are super, super artistic with their planning. But at the end of the day, just remember that your planner is for you. It's to help you get organized, or it's to like keep memories for you, or it's to act as a journal, or whatever the purpose is. But it's for you to use for that purpose. It's not for you to compare on Instagram. So even if you are someone who makes YouTube videos about planners, you don't need to be anybody else other than yourself. If you are authentic and you are into your planner, somebody is gonna love your style. There are so many different ways to plan. So just be authentic, own your style, and don't compare it to anybody else. For sure, use them as inspiration and reference. This question is a great one. This comes from FJ Hill, and they ask, knowing and experiencing parenthood, PCOS, and miscarriage, what 5 things would you tell yourself 10 years ago to make things easier? From Fallon Hill, Birmingham, UK. Well, thank you and hello. I'm glad that you said hello from the UK. So 10 years ago, I was 21 and I was pregnant with my daughter. So 5 things that I would tell myself 10 years ago is that number 1, stop giving any shits about what people think about you, because I am somebody who really struggles with anxiety, and back then I was anxious anytime I left the house. I had to be looking perfect. I had to have makeup on. I was always concerned about my weight, those kind of things. You know, I was looking for approval. I was always on the search for a boyfriend. I was always on the search for friend groups that would accept me. I was just always looking for approval. I was always looking for my mom to be proud of me when I was at college, which she most of the time was. When I just do what I want to do without really thinking about pleasing other people, it makes my day go so much more smooth. So that's one. My second one is I would need to quit being a bubble mom. So what that means, you could think of it as like a helicopter mom, that kind of thing. When Delilah was born, maybe it came from my anxiety and maybe it came from her being a preemie baby, but I was like a crazy helicopter mom. And I even went so far as I didn't really trust Brian to be as active of a father as he wanted to be. I would dominate the parenting, and sometimes I still do. I don't know, I wanted things to go a certain way, and I felt like nobody could do the parenting things as good as I could. I also probably helped her too much. I would do things for her and not let her experience failures. So 2 parts there. So that'll be 2 and 3. The first would be to relax and let other people step in and help with the parenting duties, especially Brian, because it's gonna be easier that way, and he'll be able to do it in his own way. It might not be up to my standards, but he'll do it and they will have a great time. Then the third one would be to let my kids have failure. That might be unpopular, but I think kids learn through failure more than they learn through parents helping them through life or helicoptering them. So that's my third one. And this is, I guess, a little bit more recent than 10 years ago, but it's something that I would tell my past self. I would tell myself that I should not just take any job. There was like a dip in education for a while and they weren't really hiring very many people. So I was subbing for a really long time. And then I kind of just took the first job that I was offered when it was full-time, and I didn't like stick it out and wait for my dream job. Number 1, because we were broke. We were seriously broke, and I just felt like I had to take that job. And number 2, because I felt like there was kind of like a status symbol for, you know, substitute teaching versus being full-time. And so I felt like I needed to be full-time. So I just took the first job, and I was really unhappy in that job. I loved my students, but there was a lot that made me unhappy in that job. So I would just say to myself to not take the first job that comes my way, and to really be out there and looking and taking a job that really made me happy rather than the first one. And then the last piece of advice that I would give to my younger self as a mom probably would be to ask more questions. I feel like as a first-time mom, I didn't ask very many questions, especially with like doctors, dentists, childcare people. I just kind of went with the flow, honestly. Like if they told me something that was good for my baby, that's what I did. When our pediatrician suggested that we put Delilah on formula when she was in the NICU rather than giving her exclusive breast milk. I didn't ever question that. I just figured that's what we were supposed to do and they knew what they were talking about, things like that. I didn't ask any questions about parenting. I just listened, and in that way, I don't feel like I advocated for my daughter in her younger years as much as I should have. So I would advise myself to ask more questions as a young mom, but that is a great question. So thank you for asking. All right, the next question comes from Chelsea X3 Prito. Oh my gosh, I hope that I did not butcher your name. Sorry about that. She asks, how do I stay motivated to stay in one planner, and how do your pages hold up in the Happy Planner? I still love my everyday essentials, but it's hard to commit to one. Girl, I get that. I totally feel that. And for the longest time, it was hard for me to commit to one. When they first came out and when I was first into them, I was getting a new planner every time there was a planner release. And then the Everyday Essentials came out, and that is just the planner for my heart. Honestly, they have a new, I'm gonna call it the new Everyday Essentials because it's a new like doodly type planner that's seasonal, just like that one was. And guys, it's horizontal, and I'm not typically a horizontal planner, but I'm thinking of changing my ways to get that planner because I love it so much. So I guess my tip would be find a planner that you fall in love with. Just fall in love with the planner. And if that's not your jam, I follow lots of people. Natalie from Crafting a Plan, if you don't watch her, you should follow her. She bounces back and forth between planners a lot, and it really works for her. That would not work for me because I would get so unorganized and that kind of thing. I guess that's another piece for how I can commit to my planner, is that bouncing around actually makes me more unorganized, and my planner is for me. It's for function and to keep me organized. So that's another reason why I don't bounce around into tons of different planners. So long story short, that is how I commit to one planner. The second part of your question, you asked how the Happy Planner pages hold up. I've been in my Everyday Essentials now for, it's like almost 7 months, I think, right? Yeah, something like that. And they hold up great. I haven't had one page rip. I'm actually going to continue using my Everyday Essentials for the full 18 months. I would love to do a video showing you guys 18 months of spreads and how I use that planner and how the pages have held up when I just like beat it up, because that is what I do. I use my planner. And so just, I want to show you how everything holds up at the end of the 18 months. So if that's something you would want to see, let me know. I would love to use a full planner for 18 months and show you guys how it holds up. So those are the answers to those questions. So thank you for asking, Chelsea. Okay. And then Lindsay Murphy, she says, I think this is entirely too personal a question. Don't worry about it, I'll answer it. But I'm gonna ask you anyway. You posted a video discussing that your marriage was going through some tough times and you weren't certain you all would make it through them together. Paraphrasing, so forgive me if I misinterpreted the tone of the video. You didn't. Can you speak at all to how things are going now? What things helped y'all most to work on things? How do you all plan to keep the relationship healthy in the future? And super personal, but I was curious about a marriage update. So there's a lot here, and I kind of want to make like a full video on this. The short version is that we are doing better. It got to kind of a boiling point, actually. And to be honest with you, I left one night and I stayed at my mom's house for a night with the kids, and I had just had enough. We were trying things, and I felt like, in my opinion, I felt like I was putting in all the work and he was not putting in the work that we needed. And so that is, again, just paraphrasing. I can get into nitty-gritty details. If you guys want to have a full-on like update, I can even pull him in. You guys could ask him questions, those kind of things too. I was pretty much ready to be done. We were having those end of marriage discussions. I even wrote him like a full-on email. I said, these are the things that we need to do. And then at the bottom, I said, if you want to still work on this, I will still work on this, but I need you to work with me. And Brian's words were that he wanted his family. And I think that it really shook him. It shook me for sure when I left. So I think it shook our relationship back to a place where we realized, oh crap, like we're about to throw something away that we've invested so much time in. This person has always been my best friend and has always been someone that I truly care for, and look how I'm treating them. And look how our family is. And we just since then have really been putting in work. We have been in marriage counseling. We actually stopped. We're not in it right now. We stopped because we weren't connecting with our counselor at that time, but there were some really good strategies that we tried, and I think it really helped just to be able to talk in a place where we felt safe. We're actually going to try regain.us. It's an online therapy. It's through BetterHelp. You might have seen their ads. Not sponsored, by the way, just something we're looking at. So we're looking at trying that, and then we also set aside time every night. We set aside 1 hour to talk, and it can be about positive things or it can be about negative things, all of that. We set aside at least an hour to have a conversation. Also, I feel like we are really listening to each other and we are really caring for each other. We are really emotionally connected. This might be too much information, but we are really flirtatious right now and just really connected romantically as well. So right now in this minute, we're in a really good place. But that doesn't mean that we are out of the woods at all. We still have work to do. And I know that every marriage has work to do. And we are really trying. We are trying so hard to make this work because we both believe in our marriage, and we believe that when you say that you're gonna be with someone forever and you promise that to each other, then that is a promise that you need to keep. We believe that. So we are trying really hard right now, and right now things are good and we both feel really positive. I mean, I'm speaking for him, but I assume that's, you know, that's the vibe that I get and that's what I get when I talk to him. But yeah, things feel good right now, but we still have stuff to work on. So if you're interested in a full-on like what we're doing, how's counseling going, what would I recommend if your marriage is in trouble, all of that, like, let me know and I will make those videos for you. So if that is something that you want or that you need, feel free to let me know and I will definitely do my best to make that video for you. Okay, and then I have a question from Denise Wilson, and she says, so how do you feel about the new rules for smaller YouTubers having to get 4,000 time watch? Just curious. I wish that I could ask the people that sub to my channel why they did, but don't watch it. Why did they stop? But anyhow, enjoyed the video. Okay, so she is asking kind of a couple of things. So if you guys don't know, when you see an ad on a video, that means the video is monetized, and that means that person is making money on the video. When I say making money, I mean making like that much money most of the time, like very little. I cannot tell you my exact figures, but it's very little. So this is really, I don't know, it's not as much as a full-time job for me, and it's not as much as a full-time job for most creators until they're able to grow to a larger size and do some other things. So YouTube has a new rule for videos that are able to make money, basically. So the rules are you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year, and you have to have 1,000 subscribers. So this person, Denise, is asking me how I feel about that. And I'm assuming she's asking me because I'm what I would refer to as a big little YouTuber. So I'm creeping towards 10,000 subscribers, which I have you guys to thank for. So thank you for that as well. But people often ask me these questions because I'm not in like a mid-size or a large channel, but I'm not really a small channel. I am somewhere kind of in the middle. And so people ask me questions about what I think about YouTube policy all the time. And just to kind of answer this question, I'm going to say that I think that this new YouTube policy is a great idea, and that might be an unpopular opinion. I think that it will make partnering with YouTube a little bit more meaningful, honestly, because when I first started in, what was it, late 2015, mid 2015, something in there, I'd have to look, but all I had to do was click a button to monetize my channel. And actually you had to monetize your channel before you could do custom thumbnails. That was the deal. That's why I even monetized it in the first place, because I wanted to be able to make custom thumbnails. If you reach 4,000 hours of watch time and you have 1,000 subscribers, it doesn't mean that you're automatically gonna get partnered either. This is to be able to apply to be partnered. I think that it's a really good thing. I think that it is going to also weed out channels that are not suitable for advertisers, which makes it so much easier on creators like myself that make family-friendly content. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't understand small YouTuber frustrations. I get it. I can tell you how frustrating that would be. Just think of it as a good thing. Use it as a time to learn. Use it as a time to grow your channels authentically. Do not use subscriber for subscriber. That is not a good way to grow your channel. Just a little bit of YouTube advice if you are a creator. If you're a creator and you are not building an authentic audience that follows you because they like you, then what's the point? Like, I am on here to connect with you guys. I create content for you. I am here to help you guys. I'm here to have fun with you guys. And if that wasn't my goal, then I don't really know what I would be doing here. I always tell people, do not get into YouTube if it is something you're only doing to make money. In my opinion, when I watch a creator, I can tell if they are authentic, if they are real, if they have a passion about creating their videos, or if they're just here to make money. And I think that a lot of people who watch YouTube videos can also tell. So we have a few questions from Jackie. So Jackie says, explain the planner craze. And girl, I don't think I can. Like, the best explanation that I have for the planner craze is that people really like scrapbooking, and people really like to be organized, and people like to like put their hobbies together. So that's the best explanation that I have for it. The reason why I love it so much is because I love having my day organized, but I also love having somewhat of a creative outlet. So that is why I'm obsessed with planners, but I guess I can't say why other people are. So if you are one of my planner followers, go ahead and answer that question down below and we can kind of explain it all together. And then Jackie had another question. She said, how does someone make money on YouTube vlogging? And I kind of answered this before when I was talking about the question that came in about the smaller YouTubers and the new rules and stuff. But basically, there are a few ways to make money doing content on YouTube. So the first one is you can link your channel once you've met those requirements now to Google AdSense. And basically what happens is every time you see an ad on a video, or if you click on an ad on a video, you're contributing to that creator. Essentially, you're helping them to earn money. Some people will also have sponsored videos, and I've done a few sponsored videos. So this basically means that a creator will partner with a company, basically, and the creator will talk about the company's product. They might even be sent the product for free, and then the creator and the company decide on an amount that the creator will also earn on top of that. So sponsored videos are another way to make money on YouTube. Another way to make money on YouTube is to use affiliate links. I actually use Amazon affiliate links, and so I usually post those links down in the description box. So if there's a product that I want to share with you guys, I will share a link with you from my affiliate account most of the time. And that is a product that I love, that I would definitely trust and use, but I also get a little bit of a kickback. Again, not very much when you're using affiliate links. I know some people are not super fond of them, but again, it helps creators. Those are the big ways. I know a lot of the big channels also will like sell merch, so they'll sell like t-shirts and stuff. People will also sell products along with their channel. So for example, I know a lot of planner channels will sell printables that go along with that. They might even be Etsy sellers, that kind of thing. So there are a variety of ways, but the main way to earn money on Google is through ads on your videos. So I hope that answers your question, Jackie. Okay, and Jackie has 3 other questions that I'll go ahead and answer really quickly. And the first one is, how did I find out I have PCOS? And if you didn't know, I am a person that lives with PCOS. It can sometimes affect my fertility and definitely affects my daily life. So how did I find out? There were several ways that I found out. I was someone who didn't have irregular cycles or anything like that, but basically my insulin and my eating habits were just kind of out of control. Because I was consuming a lot of sugar, or any sugar at all really, it made my body go all out of whack. It made me gain a lot of weight. It made me have really awful symptoms, or symptoms that I think are awful, like facial hair. Sometimes it was not good. I would have a lot of mood swings, and then I would have really painful periods. So those were the big ones for me. And my OB said that a lot of the pain was coming from the cysts that were hanging out around my ovaries. So I would say that I probably have a milder case of PCOS. I don't have something that's super extreme. I luckily did not have very much trouble getting pregnant. It took us, when we were trying for Harrison, probably like 7 to 8 months. So So on the longer side, but not anywhere near as long as people as I have heard. So that is how I discovered that I had PCOS. And then how did I switch to green living? So my husband actually kind of took the lead on this one, and he loves to research things and he loves to learn about things, and he's always really been interested in health. And so he learned a lot about health and he kind of passed it to us, and we incorporated a lot of these things into our home. So basically it was just through like personal research and learning what is in my food, what is in my cleaning products, what is in like everyday items, and switching over to things that I feel are better for my body. So that is how we started switching over to green living. Oh, and this is a good question. And I might have answered this one before, but I'll answer it again. So she also wanted to know how my husband and I met, and his name is Brian. Brian and I met in college. We both went to Western Oregon University in Monmouth. In the comments, if you know where Monmouth is, feel free to leave that down below. So Monmouth is a little itty bitty town about, I would say like 30 miles south of Oregon State's capital, Salem. And we both went there. Brian actually came from Salem. I came from Portland, so we met there. We lived in the same dorm hall, and I lived up on the 3rd floor and he lived on the 2nd floor. Just kind of by chance, our friend group started kind of hanging out, and in my 2nd year in college, Brian and his friends would start coming over for regular movie nights. And during those movie nights, Brian and I started to get closer. We started to develop like a pretty good friendship. He's really funny. He's really playful. He was always hugging people back then, and I kind of gravitated towards that. And so at first it was all friendship, and at that point I was such a lame dater. I always dated the wrong person. I dated the worst people for me. I would date people that would cheat on me, and people who were just not very nice or who didn't really care about having a relationship but kind of told me that they did. So I always dated the wrong people, and Brian always was like, what are you doing? Who are these people that you're dating? And so, you know, I would just kind of like brush it off or whatever, and you know, he was just my friend. I started to like catch feelings for him in college, and I confided in a good friend of ours, and I told her, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I like Brian. I don't know what to do, because he was totally not my type. Like, the nice guys were definitely not my type. So I told her, and she actually told him. Like, I was mortified, and we ended up going to a movie for his birthday, and then he chose to sit next to me. At that point, I didn't know that our friend had told him that I liked him, and so then he sent me some instant message conversations where we had some really long talks, and then he asked me to go on a date with him, and the rest is history. So that is like our story. I always advise people, if you can, be friends with your spouse before you ever date or marry them. So that is how I met my husband, Brian. Okay, and then planning made functional says, how do you find time to plan in all the planners? Like, do you have a planner routine or a schedule? So how do I find time? I make time. I'm a mom of 2, so anytime that I can, I grab my planners and I write in them. With my work planner, so with my goal getter, I will write in that during work hours, and I will schedule appointments for the next day. That one's just really functional, so I just write in it basically. My decorative everyday planner, I just find time to do it. I try to set it up the week before, like on Sundays. That's always my goal, but if I can't, then I just kind of piece it together each day. So that is what I do. With my social media one, anytime that I'm filming or recording, I will write in that. So yeah, that's just how I do it. I don't have a schedule to sit down and do all of my planners. I can't. As a mom of 2, things get in my way. So anytime I have a free moment that I'm not spending time with my family, that is when I work in my planner. So that's it, guys. If you guys have more questions or you want me to do another Q&A, feel free to leave questions here and I can do a part 2 to this if there's anything else that you are wondering or you want to see or anything like that. So thank you guys so much for being here. I so appreciate you and all of your love and support and all of your lovely questions. So thank you. You guys are the best. If you want to subscribe, it's down there. If you want to hit the bell notification, it's also down there if you're already subscribed. But you can also find me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of that information is in the description box below. And by the way, you guys, have fun today.